So I'm going to start the topic with a description. And that description is, I feel like I was pushed into a hotel room. Someone locked the door, and the only thing I'm in here with is my vulnerability. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that way. I know at times like this, when I am faced with my vulnerability and I can't escape it, I get really mad at my recovery. I get really mad at my ability to feel, and I get really fucking mad that I can't numb it out. There's been a sequence of events that's happened for my family in the last couple of weeks, and while I'm very comfortable sharing my perspective of this, most of you know I don't share details of something current. I'm very open and honest about my story, and what I am willing to share safely is what I've worked on and have healed and am healing. And so if there's anything current, that's just off limits for me for safety reasons. And so what I'm talking about tonight is my experience and the pattern that I notice when shit happens in my life and I can't escape it. There's nowhere to figuratively or literally run to, even though I'm in Asheville. I feel like the vulnerability came with me and it's in the hotel room with me. It's just me and it. And I literally texted one of my safe people earlier, and I felt like I was about 12, these text messages when I was sending them. I hate adulting. I hate that I can't numb out. I hate that I have to be the adult and figure out how to do the healthy things in my relationships, and that nobody was healthy enough to show me how to do it. That's what it feels like. It's a lot of grief. And while I, as a human, really respect vulnerability because it is what it is, the catalyst, it is the path out of whatever the pain is. What I don't like is I don't get to choose when it happens. Nobody consulted me. I did not approve this. And while I can giggle and laugh at it, last week I was not laughing. I was crying a lot. I was really angry. I was very resentful. And recognizing that this is a pattern for me, because as a recovering codependent, I'm a control addict. And the reason I'm a control addict, we talked about this last week, the reason I'm a control addict is that there were many experiences in my childhood where I was powerless and bad things happened. So my honoring my need to control looks very different today than it used to look. I used to hate that I was a control addict. I used to put myself down and judge myself a lot. And part of what helps me in my recovery is the compassion that I now have towards that shadow work, those survival skills that help me make it through all of those experiences that I was completely powerless in. So I do have this relationship with vulnerability where I really respect it and honor it. And sometimes I just look at her and say, I did not invite you. And I need that permission. I need the permission to not be fucking okay with what's going on right now. And I feel like maybe we could say that globally. Like, this isn't just an Amber story I'm saying. This is a energetic, maybe collective thing that's happening right now, that I did not fucking okay this. This is not okay. This was not a part of the plan. Because what I know when I look at that vulnerability, that part of me that is really vulnerable, number one, history shows that she doesn't fail. She fucking steps up and she does it every time. And I'm 45 years old. And while that is short It's long for me. But in 45 years, she's never failed. And I need to hold that because while today I'm smiling because I'm very excited for this meeting. I've been waiting for this meeting all week. Sometimes I wish CFR were on Monday nights. Today I'm in a very different place, and I'm grateful that I sat down with her, my vulnerability. And I'm really grateful that I could say the things I needed to say, which is, I didn't fucking invite you, and I don't want you here because it hurts. The awareness and the ability to be able to sit in the honesty of that. And she didn't leave. She just says, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there isn't an answer, right? Like there is no answer. There's not a problem statement. So there's no answer to my problem. The reality is it's grief. And when we face these transitions and when these things are happening, it was part of my story early on, and it was part of my survival skill to stuff it, to ADS. And if you don't know what that means, it's always doing shit. It's an Amberism. Don't Google it. But it helps me realize when I'm always doing something and I'm busy, 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 whether I'm pleasing or whether I'm organizing or cleaning or whatever it is I'm doing, that's how I stuff it. And as humans, we've gotten really good at numbing or stuffing or avoiding. And the reality is, the more that I do that, the longer I stay stuck. But another part of me that I've picked up along the way, probably from some of the scariest experiences of my life, is I also have this very courageous, bold part of me. She's not always obvious to others that don't know me, but she's very courageous. And she's the one that said, you are not invited. I don't want you here. But you know what else I noticed about her? She says all the things that I never had permission to say as a kid. I never had permission to say no. I never had permission to leave the room, much less have permission to cry or have permission to say, stop doing that. She does. She speaks all those things. And you know what else? Vulnerability doesn't leave. She stays and she listens. Because it's not about blame and fault, it's about fact. And in this human experience, part of what we're doing with my very elementary way, because I don't know how else to say this, is we level up. That's not a video game pun, but I know it sounds like one. In my recovery, I level up, and I know that that's what's happening. I just don't always like the timing of it. I don't get consulted in when this happens. And sometimes I wish it was a little bit more predictable and it wouldn't feel like the rug's pulled out from under me. And so other examples of this happening is when a loved one, like my mom, gets really sick and something happens and it's like everything stops for the week. Everything that was planned isn't planned anymore. Or when something scary happens and it diverts all plans. It's life experiences that point out my want and my desire to control things, but it forces, but I choose to sit down with vulnerability rather than numbing it out, raging it out, or avoiding it. And even though I'm angry at it and I'm mad at it, it for me is recovery, my higher power, my program, whatever that is for you. You can just fill in the blank. Part of what makes it okay for me to do that is because it's human. That's actually a human experience that is supposed to happen. My belief that I'm not supposed to say or do those things is from the dysfunctional experiences that I wasn't allowed to say no, that I wasn't allowed to leave the room, or I wasn't allowed to tell someone to stop doing that. Today I can. I can say all of those things and she welcomes them. So I know this is a little bit abstract because, again, I'm only sharing my experience to honor my family and the situation that we're in right now. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to do what I know that works, which is connect. It's what we connect on, and why healing happens is because the feeling, the emotion, the pain, that's the part that's universal. How we get there is different for each one of us. But the shame, the vulnerability, the courage, the rage, that's the human experience. That's the part that we all get to share. And while it's not always very pretty, mine definitely was not, I appreciate the permission to be authentic and to share, and not the external validation. While it feels fucking amazing, the harder thing for me to do is internal validation. It's harder for me to be okay with the process that I took this week. It is a part of the tool for tonight. It is validation is about being reflected back what I know that I need. I know I made a good decision and I need validation that what I did was good. External validation, of course. And what I shared at the beginning was what I really struggle with is the internal validation, the internal permission to be human most of the time, which is really mind-blowing to me. I don't mean that to minimize my story. There's just not logic with it in my brain, for me. And what I know about the tool in recovery that speaks to me the most tonight is it's not about the ability to manage the chaos. I got a few degrees in that. I think most of us do. Recovery is not about the ability to juggle all the balls, manage all the chaos, and put up with all the shit. That's not recovery. Recovery is about the ability to be vulnerable and invite in the joy. It is so scary to my body when I have to go into that thought. It's a coping mechanism. It's a tool for me. I say it frequently in here, but history shows I don't fail. That's really hard for me to say out loud. And it's also really hard for me to say in public, but history shows that I don't fail. It sounds cocky. It sounds bold. It sounds like I'm bragging. Like immediately, that's what my narrative starts saying as soon as I verbalize it. But what it also does is it allows me to be in a place of love and belonging. Remember Maslow's hierarchy that I bring back from 7th grade PE class all the time? Love and belonging is right in the center, and that is the wound of not being seen and heard. When I can speak my story, and when other people share the same story, my heart fluttered when before I could even say, does anyone want to share? And it says, I got it. Are you in my house? Like, I was like, oh, thank you. Because I was really afraid I made no sense whatsoever. And so many more of you followed right behind. And it's this incredible feeling that I just don't have words for. It's the love and belonging. It's I belong and love me enough to show up in this experience, in this community, and I allow myself to be supportable, meaning your stories I allow in. I don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to allow any of these stories in. They don't have to touch you at all. And maybe there was a time in your recovery, I had a time in my recovery when I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? Like, I cry enough. I don't need to sit in rooms to hear other people cry. I was that girl. Yeah, that was me. Now I'm waiting on CFR and it's Monday night. It's like, I can't get there fast enough. So it is the awareness that the reason this community works is because I allow it. It's because you allow it. If I wasn't supportable, I wouldn't get the benefits of this meeting. And I am very capable of being not supportable. I am very capable of putting that fucking armor up and doing it myself, because that's exactly how I was taught. Doing it this way is hard. It's harder because I stay in my body. I stay connected. I do the hard thing because I know when it comes to vulnerability, that is the way through. Using all those other things that I used to use makes it last longer, and it makes it a shit ton harder. So when we can get to a place of love and belonging, we can speak our truth, not just to us, but to others. And then we're also being seen and heard.